Welcome to the show. Watching John C's Troop 33. I'm John, I'm your host, and I'm glad you tuned in. So, without further ado, I got some footage for you today. We love the footage here, right? Analyze it, break it down. State our opinions. Is it legit? Is it fake? This is the place to do that. I don't know. I was watching Angry Astronaut earlier, and I seen this. He had this telescopic footage of this near Earth object that's in orbit, but it's a highly elliptical orbit, and it makes all these erratic movements, and they don't really know what it is. But astronomers, mainstream, they try to label it as basically space junk, from a rocket, piece of a rocket or something, some such thing like that, because those basically are pushed throughout space by the sun's radiation. But this isn't really exhibiting that behavior. And one of the anomalies he pointed out was that this thing is retro. It's retrograde, so it's going opposite of the Earth's spin. And when we launch things into space, it's always smarter to launch it with the Earth's spin, because if you launch it against the grain of the Earth's spin, it takes way more fuel and it's a waste.
Something is orbiting our planet, an orbit that changes constantly and takes whatever this object is out beyond the orbit of the moon. And then it returns, passing within a few hundred kilometers of our atmosphere. It isn't a meteoroid or asteroid, and it isn't a satellite. Scientists don't know what it is, and its orbit is so bizarre that categorizing it, even though it was discovered over 5 years ago, has been virtually impossible. But there are two things that we know about this object. First of all, it bears a great deal of resemblance to the mysterious interstellar object Oumuamua, at least in regards to its behavior. And number two, astronomers agree that this could not possibly be a natural object. It must be artificial.
So what could this thing be? He thinks it's artificial. He explained reasons why it can't be anything but artificial. So you might want to check out his channel for that. I mean, I thought it was really, really interesting. He actually uploaded it recently. And yeah, I don't want to piggyback off him too much. I try not to do that with other people's content. I mean, I do it, but not usually on the same day that they post. So yeah, check out the Angry Astronaut. Pretty wild content. He always has good stuff, man. He's a very smart individual. He's a scientist, and yeah, it's pretty interesting. It goes outside of the moon's orbit, and then it zooms in and actually only, I believe it's like only like a few hundred kilometers from Earth's atmosphere when it's at its closest point to us. So the thing comes in pretty close. Kind of makes me think of things like the Black Knight or whatever, that other satellite that they don't really know what it is, and NASA says it's just like a thermal blanket floating, it's just orbiting Earth. But it always maintains that weird shape, you know. So it made me think of that, and the fact that nobody has spoken about this too much, um, makes me think there might be something to it. Apparently, they've known this thing's been there since 2019. So yeah, go shoot past his channel, check that out. But without further ado, let's get into this footage, and I'll be right back.
Mid-flight.
That's probably one of the best um, camera shot footage that a pilot. I mean, there's a couple others that are linked in with this that I think are excellent, excellent footage of UAPs that are pretty close. You can actually see kind of features of it. I mean, most of them are featureless, but there's this one. There's one that was shaped like a tetrahedron that glides past. There's a few of them, but that one there, man, that's probably one of the best, and it's never been debunked. It's legit. Um, it's just awesome footage, man.
On April 5th, 2025, at exactly 10 p.m., something strange and highly coordinated unfolded in the skies above Tembe Elephant Park in South Africa, caught live on webcam. At first, two glowing white orbs hovered silently in the sky, perfectly parallel and slowly shifting position. But then three more lights rose up from the ground below, forming what looked like a perfect triangle. That formation began to rotate slowly and deliberately, completing a smooth 360-degree turn without breaking shape. The triangular cluster then began climbing higher and higher, while the original two orbs remained below them, motionless. Just as suddenly as they appeared, the triangle of lights vanished from view, leaving only the two original orbs glowing faintly in the night sky. Some say drones, others believe this was something far more intelligent. What exactly was recorded that night in South Africa?
That was pretty good. I mean, anything with the night vision, man. I thought, man, I'm telling you, I I recommend everybody get night vision binoculars, anything like that, because you tend to get more more footage, better footage. I mean, you get footage. I mean, you know, your average private citizen can catch a lot of anomalous things just with night vision. So, I recommend everybody, man, get yourself some night vision binoculars, get out there and start looking up. There's other instruments that you can also get that will tell you if it's a satellite or if it's, something, you know, just run of the mill that people mistake for UAPs. I think there's one that's called like UAP map or something or UAP DAP. I don't know. But anyway, it's expensive. A lot of people don't have that kind of money, but if you got night vision and if the thing is zigzagging and jumping around in the sky, double back on itself, stopping and going, that's anomalous. That's definitely nothing, that we're messing with. Check it out.
What I saw was a white, completely smooth vehicle that appeared to be a flying saucer. It was constructed in the shape of a modified circular egg, being equal in length and shape from all sides, as I would learn as I watched the video. Its contour was totally smooth, with no light, flight control surface, pitot tubes, propulsion systems, antennae, or other projections that might be seen on any typical aircraft or spacecraft. While it was generally spherical, it was about 20 feet in length, I would guess. It had a type of beam or equatorial region, with about 60% of the craft being above this region and 40% of the craft being below this region. A shallow dome could be seen at its apex. It was completely white with no seams, rivets, or other clues to its construction. The only exceptions were a pair of vertical and horizontal black rectangles that had been painted, and I assumed these markings were to be used when evaluating a test vehicle. From somewhat above the vehicle, looking down on it from the 3 o'clock position. I only gained the rest of the information I just provided about the full range of rectangles only at the time that I witnessed it moving later on. I could partially make out information at the 12 o'clock position, but did not get a full view of it until it initially.
Who is this dude and what's his name? Is he going to say his name? There's no identifying thing in the comment in the
was
title.
Referring to space. All of a sudden, there were what appeared to be visual and auditory signs of electromagnetic discharges occurring around the vehicle. I will not describe this otherwise, because even though there were no indications of the craft being classified, the fact that it was a flying saucer made me immediately expect that this surely had to be a classified craft. Likewise.
So he's saying it said U.S. Army on it. So I guess it's like he's describing an ARV to us. I don't know. I guess it's interesting. I got to find out. They don't post his name or nothing.
What is it? What is that?
Yeah, I see that.
Are they UFOs?
Wow.
They're two totally different sizes. They're not close. They're not far away from each other either.
They're UFOs. Yeah, no, that's what I just said.
Wow, that's interesting, man.
What is that? We're
Kid yelling out, "Is that a UFO?" is pretty makes you think it's real, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure they didn't just have his kid trained to say that. I guess
that
they
is
could
not a
have.
plane.
It seemed pretty spontaneous to me.
That's not a plane.
Ooh, shit.
Why is it flying? Why? Hello?
Keep recording.
Okay, it's just going. Is it going?
What's your name? It's flying low.
Oh, wow.
What the fuck? I'm scared.
It's flying up. It's flying up.
The door's locked.
Yeah. It's right there. That's
Or the
the
door's
one
locked.
What the heck? Oh my god.
It's turn about the other lights. I was on the one light now.
Wow.
Why? That was weird.
I'm like, huh?
Wait.
Oh,
Wait, that's the car. Oh my god, what
Crazy.
is that?
oh,
Wow.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
Yo,
What the fuck?
what the fuck is
Babe!
that?
Babe!
I'm driving. I keep recording.
Wait, I can't.
Doing?
Oh no!
Uh-oh. Jellyfish? They want them there jellyfish, right? You guys remember when they were saying that about the guy by LAX? They said it was a guy in a jetpack, and all those planes was, all them pilots was reporting that they were seeing that. You know, if I was in a plane flying past something like that, right? Say it's like I'm looking at it through a distance, through some clouds. I might think that that's a person on a jetpack, you know? Could be balloons. I don't know. It's hard to say. I'm not going to say it's not balloons because I see spherical objects like clumped together, but they're silver looking. Just don't know. And then it seems like there's something hanging.
You believe, in part, that the movies E.T., Close Encounters of the Third Kind, were not entirely just the creative products of some Hollywood director, that maybe there's more to that. Why don't you explain?
They were carefully guided by representatives from MJ12, who is this organization that is in charge of the cover-up, in order to get us ready for the release of the information that there are indeed aliens. And in both those movies, they used small little creatures and in order to get us ready for this release of information.
To prepare us that the idea of benevolent aliens from outer space are going to help us out.
Unfortunately, they're not so benevolent. So they made probably one of the most disastrous mistakes when E.T. was put out. At that time was before we discovered what I call the double cross or the grand deception, and they were trying to get us used to the benevolent little creatures, but that isn't the case.
Oh, that dude, man. And, his dad was the inventor of the Learjet. He had some CIA affiliation. Um, just wild. Yeah, if any of you guys can check out those old clips with George Knapp and him, they go into cattle mutilations where he says things like that there were human mutilations. Yeah, just wild, wild interviews, man. See it. Oh, what's that? Broad daylight, too. People in the comments saying that's a plane, right? Now we're too far away to definitively say what it is. If it was a plane, it would be moving. That thing is just sitting stationary, right? What do you guys think? May 4th. Check out the comments. Hello, I am looking for a real relationship. Yeah, this chick's on here trying to catch, man. Right here, look at this shit. Right here, I'm looking for, wow, man. Usually I blow these up so you guys can just see the footage. You know, sometimes I'll keep myself in the picture, but I can't with this one. So that's just freaking hilarious.
So everybody on TikTok thinks that this individual is a demon,
All right, we're out.
or
We ain't into that type of shit. So let's find out. Here we go. This.
check this rubbish out. Oh my god! No overreaction. Oh my gosh! Look at that. This is CGI.
We ain't into that shit either, man. See here.
This is just insane. Monday night in Philadelphia, at a private UFO event, Luis Elizondo presented this photo. A photo.
Let me educate you guys. That turned out to be. Any of you guys ever flown over the Midwest? You see a lot of circles, right? And that's basically the irrigation. That's how the sprinklers work, right? So it'll leave these perfectly symmetrical, round, like prints in the ground. So Lou held up this picture at this briefing with Citizens for Disclosure, and Representative Anna Paulina Luna was there, and some other representatives, and a lot of well-known people who've come out from the military, like Admiral Tim Gallaudet, Eric Davis, different people. And so they had this briefing. And Lou Elizondo holds up this picture of that, what you're looking at on the screen. And he's trying to say that it's this gigantic UFO and that this pilot took this picture and he had permission to show it. And it turned out to be bogus because somebody went on Google Maps, looked at the same exact spot because AI is able to locate these things. And literally what it was just two of these circles next to each other. And from that angle, it would create like an optical illusion, but you could tell that it was irrigation, just regular circles in the ground. So it got debunked immediately, man. So a lot of people in the UFO community is like, yo, like this is the second time that Lou Elizondo did this. And he said in interviews that, in 2008 when they approached him, he was doing counterintelligence and against terrorists in Afghanistan, and he had I don't know, some kind of relation with Guantanamo Bay, and I don't know if he was involved with it or not. I doubt it, but now I gotta delete that word from this before I publish it. But anyway, turns out this is fake. And a lot of people are questioning, he said in 2008 when they approached him that he was hired to do counterintelligence on the UAP community. So now a lot of people are saying, is he poisoning the well? Because his briefing, this was a pretty big deal. And a lot of news agencies, were aware of it. And the one piece of evidence that's presented by Lou Elizondo turns out to be bogus. I'm questioning it. Is he just running, counter intel, acting like he's with us when he continuously poisons the well? And it's damaging to the disclosure movement because now the debunkers and the paid debunkers like Mick West, who admitted he was a paid debunker, they can hop right on there and say, oh, see, it's all fake. See, look, this picture, and then it discredits everything for some people, for the large majority. I mean, those of us who are true believers who really pay attention, we want to know how come Chris Bledsoe wasn't at that briefing? How come Richard Greer. That's crazy. Sorry, Steve. How come Stephen Greer wasn't at that briefing? Like, why? Where was Michael Herrera? Where are these whistleblowers? How come Jake Barber wasn't there? How come his buddy Baker wasn't there? How come none of these guys? How come the Skywatcher team wasn't there? It's just, it really makes you wonder, man. If we ain't being, if there's not a op being run on us, on this community to discredit it, just makes you wonder, man. And then whenever Jeremy Corbell interviewed Matthew Brown, he said there was certain names you couldn't say in the Pentagon around certain people. Your job would be done. You'd be done. Your professional career would be over. And one of the names was David Grush. But they asked him about Lou, and he said, nah, you could mention Lou's name. Why is that? I'm just asking the question. What do you guys think? Wow, look at that. That's wild. Whew. Crazy, man. Crazy. So that's all I have for you guys today. This is UAP 233. Don, thank you for watching. Hey, and please leave a like, subscribe, share it with a friend. I really appreciate all you guys. Till tomorrow. Peace.